New research reveals that our childhood experiences can affect us not just throughout our lives, but can potentially even influence the health of our children. How we are nurtured, especially in childhood, can have profound effects on us. In cases of trauma and stress, these effects can begin to alter our biology. This brings us to an important question. How do adverse childhood experiences, or ACEs, affect the genome? Adverse childhood experiences are traumatic events that occur during childhood. Examples include child maltreatment, witnessing violence at home or in the community, or growing up in a household with mental health challenges. ACEs are a major public health concern because they are common and have long-lasting negative effects on health. In the U.S., over 60% of adults reported experiencing at least one ACE. Experiencing ACEs can potentially lead to changes in biology. Prolonged excessive stress from trauma, called toxic stress, can alter how genes are expressed without changing the DNA sequence itself. The image shown here illustrates how toxic stress from childhood trauma sends signals that affect the HPA axis, and this triggers biological changes that leave a lasting imprint on the nervous system and the body. Epigenetics is the study of how genes are turned on or off. There are three main types, and these include DNA methylation, histone modifications, and various RNA-mediated processes. DNA methylation, for example, can suppress gene expression by physically blocking transcription factor binding. Several genes appear especially sensitive to stress and trauma. One of these is FKBP5. Genetic variants and epigenetic changes in this gene can influence gene expression and are linked to risk for stress-related disorders such as PTSD. Another gene associated with childhood trauma is MAOA, which helps break down neurotransmitters such as serotonin. MAOA is essential for synaptic transmission, motor control, emotional regulation, and cognitive function. Variants in this gene have been linked to antisocial behaviors and aggression. The NR3C1 gene plays a central role in regulating the stress response. Childhood trauma and stress have been shown to alter methylation of NR3C1, potentially affecting expression. Finally, HTR genes encode serotonin receptors, and variants in certain HTR genes have been associated with conditions such as panic disorder, PTSD, and eating disorder. Further research shows that childhood trauma can accelerate biological aging and even have effects across generations. One study of 1,971 children examined how different types of adverse childhood experiences affected epigenetic clocks. The study found that trauma such as physical and emotional abuse was associated with signs of accelerated aging in DNA. Another study looked at 3 generations of women from 48 refugee families and their exposure to violence. Researchers found that children exposed prenatally to violence showed signs of accelerated aging, suggesting that the effects of trauma can become biologically embedded and potentially passed down through generations. From an ethical perspective, we have a responsibility to prevent ACEs because of their severe and lasting effects. For example, preventing ACEs could reduce suicide attempts among high school students by 89%, and in adulthood, it could lower cases of heart diseases by 22%, and depression by 78%. Understanding how childhood trauma affects our genome helps us better grasp the onset of mental and physical health issues, potentially saving lives and helping us build a healthier society. Legally, child protection laws are designed to prevent children from being in environments where they are exposed to trauma. If we understand how trauma affects behavior, such as aggression, through its effects on the genome, we can better approach fields like criminology and criminal justice. Socially, the effects of ACEs often last into adulthood. Exposure to toxic stress can affect education, career opportunities, financial stability, and the ability to form healthy relationships. By preventing childhood trauma, we not only improve individual lives, but also strengthen families and communities, creating a society that is more resilient and healthy overall.